It's been almost 2 years since Google graced us with the Google Pixel tablet, and for the most part, I've been a pretty big fan, and obviously the standout for this is that dock. Now, it might not sound the best, but for my little apartment, it fills the room pretty well, and the fact that it keeps the tablet charged at all times is my favorite part, because remembering to charge tablets is my kryptonite. I am always forgetting. But after playing with this now for a little bit, it's kind of left me wanting more and asking the question, what can Google do next to make the Pixel tablet the best it can be for the next version? I suppose it's actually worth noting when the next generation of Pixel tablet might arrive, and the chances of us seeing one in 2025 is pretty slim. This is because Google have all but cancelled releasing a second-gen Pixel tablet, and instead will be releasing a third-gen Pixel tablet, even if it might still be called the second-gen Pixel tablet. Now, I think this might be down mostly to a fear from Google that a second-gen Pixel tablet might just not reach the sales targets that they would want, which in turn hints to me that there might not have been a huge change from the Pixel tablet we have now versus a second-gen. We've already seen reports that the next generation of Pixel tablet will be powered by the Tensor G6, presumably the same SoC that will power the Pixel 11s, and Google want this to compete by making it more powerful and more versatile by adding things such as 2 USB-C ports, which we've seen reported in the past, which could add more support for more external displays at once by daisy chaining them. So it is looking like it's 2027 before we see a second-gen Pixel tablet, which I'm actually fine with as long as Google go away to the drawing board and just make this a little bit better. So here are a couple of things that I would like to see on the second-gen Pixel tablet, and first of all, it's got to be improving that display. This has to be top of the list for Google because the current Pixel tablet is a 60Hz LCD panel, which, if we're being honest, for $500 really isn't good enough. I kind of think LCD might still be the right way to go for a display that is constantly on, just to avoid the burn-in, but Google next time really needs to give us at least a 90Hz display, because the current one at 60Hz just feels sluggish, and honestly it just kind of makes this tablet feel a lot less premium than it actually feels in the hand. Of course 120Hz is the absolute ideal for Google to put into the second-gen Pixel tablet, but I think here small steps is the way to go, and the next step on that screen, as we're talking about it, is to get rid of those giant bezels. Now, there's no point in denying it, these bezels are absolutely huge and there's no reason for them to be this big, but if Google were to shrink those bezels down a little bit, what it would do is give us a bigger display, which we can't complain about because bigger displays are always nice in a tablet, but the whole form factor of that tablet would stay the exact same size because you're not increasing the whole form factor of that tablet, you're shrinking those bezels down, which I think might be really nice. Now, another upgrade that I think would be really nice is to the cameras, and I'm not ever going to sit there and take photos on the Pixel tablet because no one should take photos on a tablet, but I am talking about the 8 megapixel selfie camera on this. Now, the cameras on the Pixel tablet at the moment, they're not terrible, but they're also not very good, and there are 2 8 megapixel cameras, and like I said, you're not going to find me taking pictures with this, but what I do use the cameras for is video calls, and that selfie camera just isn't great when you're on video calls with other people. I think it'd be a good idea here for Google just to bump in a selfie camera from something like the Pixel 9a, for example. This would be really nice, and also give us a wider selfie camera because I think that that is just missing on the Pixel tablet at the moment. It's not wide enough, especially when you want to get a group of people into a video call. So bumping this up to 30 megapixels and making it a bit wider is exactly what we need in the Pixel tablet too. The biggest selling point of the current Pixel tablet though is that dock. I mentioned it before, you pop it down on, it goes into dock mode, and then it becomes a speaker at the same time, which is great. But the bad news about the dock is that once you take that Pixel tablet off, it is just a dock of nothing. You can't use it. It has no Bluetooth capabilities. You can't cast any audio from your phone or your Pixel tablet. It's kind of just a bit of a waste. Now, Google can do a lot on this to make it better. And firstly, we need to be able to use that dock as a standalone speaker so you can cast audio from the tablet or maybe a Pixel phone. And then secondly, you have to improve the drivers in this because at the moment, they're the same size as the smallest Nest Hub. So the audio just isn't amazing. It is a shame that without the Pixel tablet attached, it is just kind of a piece of nothing. It has no assistant built in, it has no SoC, no Bluetooth, just nothing. So if I ever take my Pixel tablet off the dock and I want to stream some music to that dock, I just can't because the Pixel tablet isn't connected. So Google, if you ever see or hear this, please just let us use that dock as a standalone speaker. And finally, if Google wanted to make this a complete replacement for my other Nest devices, I quite like that. But so far it's missing lots of abilities that a Nest Hub Max, for example, would have. So I can't change the sensitivity for waking the assistant up. There's just no option for that. It's missing gesture support, where on the Nest Hub Max you can wave your hand and pause music, but the hardware for this just isn't here on the Pixel tablet. It's also missing the Nest Hub Max's live camera feature, where on your Pixel phone, if you go into the Home app, you can actually have a look at a live camera that the Nest Hub Max can provide, but here you don't see it on the Pixel tablet. There is a bit of work for Google to do here to replace my Nest Hub devices with a Pixel tablet, but with a little bit of tinkering, they could do it, and I don't see why they don't. There are of course smaller additions to a Pixel tablet 2nd generation that I'd like to see from Google. So for example, first-party stylus support. I mean, you get that on Honor devices, Samsung tablets, and you also get it on an iPad. And then it might be quite nice to add a native drawing app to the Pixel tablet to go along with a potential Pixel Pencil. It'd be nice to see some more Pixel tablet exclusive software features. Like at the moment you have freeform Windows, but that's in beta, but having that on official software would be really nice. A bigger battery would be a nice addition, adding options for 5G and maybe even a Magic Keyboard-like case. And it goes without saying, upgrading the Tensor G2 powering this thing, because by the time we get around to seeing another Pixel tablet, this will be miles behind a lot of the competition. Like I mentioned, it might be a bit of time before we see a next-gen Pixel tablet like 2027, but I'm not mad about it, because it gives Google time to go back to the drawing board and really kind of think about what they want the Pixel tablet to be. But if you have any idea what you might want in a Pixel tablet 2nd gen, let me know in the comments below. And of course, if any of you still use the original Pixel tablet that we have now every single day, I'm curious to what you use it for, because for me, it ends up just being a clock and a controlling assistant to change all the lights that are in my front room. But besides from that, I can't remember the last time that I even took it off that dock, because it's just not that useful as a standalone tablet. Now, before you head off, why not subscribe to the channel? And if you do that, then I'll see you in the next video.